Hey, what's up everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, it is hot, man. This is one of them hot days. 87, 88 degrees, something like that. Really feeling it now. But yeah, I did my grocery shopping. Not too much of it. Just had to grab a few little things, nothing serious. Also did my little hill walk in Hollywood. Sweated real good. So this has been a very good day for sweating, which was definitely necessary for me. Yeah, man, y'all probably saw me throw a few curse words at the homeless man earlier today, man. I didn't want to break my concentration, but he threw the N-bomb in my direction, and my ego would not allow for that to be the case. I don't know if you could hear him say it or not, but I certainly heard him, man. Saw his mouth when he said it, so yeah, it was very much the N-word thrown in my direction. So y'all have to forgive me for not keeping my cool, but I thought I was pretty, it's one of those situations where I understand that the enemy's gonna always try to throw something at me when I'm doing God's work against him. I'm talking about evil ass Israel and all the stuff they doing, killing people and justifying it and stuff like that, killing kids, all this other stuff, as I try to throw some hell at them every day for the evil that they do to the Palestinian people. And today was no exception. And I just felt like that was one of several things that came my way that was meant to bump my spirit or make me unhappy today. A few things happened. I don't want to give them too much credit, but just little stuff, that's supposed to make me feel unhappy, uncomfortable, or less than or something. It was a lot of that thrown at me, so I know I must be doing something right. I just threw a couple words at him and kept about the conversation. You guys are going to see it too, but I didn't acknowledge it in the moment because I wasn't about to break the conversation. That was his intention spiritually, not necessarily in his head. His head didn't have nothing good going on in it, but his spiritual intention for which he was driven by was meant to break my concentration and have me talking about something else other than what I was talking about. And because I see things through spiritual lenses, I wasn't going to give the devil the satisfaction. I threw what I had to say at that man and kept on my conversation. So it's going to look kind of crazy in the video. But yeah, he said the N-word to me. I gave him a couple MFs and kept walking. But, to be honest with you, those are the type of things where it's like you can very easily crash out in situations like that, act out, make yourself a worse person for how you handle those situations. And I talk about a lot in this camera how you don't let the enemy trick you out your situation or let him trick you out your position or whatever it is you're doing. Something bad happened to you, you do 6 bad things in a row because of it. Now you're the bad guy. And you done did more bad than the bad that came your way. It's just, that's the purpose of a lot of stuff that's supposed to be bad pointed at you. It's meant to make you worse so that you will then be converted into the same energy that ultimately is pointed at you. I could have ignored it, but that was the wrong example I wanted to show all of you when somebody calls us the N-word. We have every right to retaliate with energy as we see fit when that word is thrown at us by somebody that ain't us. That was a white man that wanted to be evil, unhappy with his life. He saw me having a conversation. He had something to say about it and addressed me in the N way. So I could walk past it and ignore it, but that's not the image I wanted to show y'all. I don't let people call me the N-word without doing something or saying something. I don't do that. And I don't expect you to either if you're a black person. Nobody has a right to call you that. I don't give a damn how unhappy they are about the double standards. They shouldn't allow themselves to make it what it is. Blame your ancestors. Don't be mad at me because I turned that word that you used on my people into something that I can use endearing for my brothers and am at peace with that. That's y'all fault. You should never use that word. If you didn't come up with it, we wouldn't be using it. So when we use it on one another and then get mad at you using it on us, that's the curse of using it on us. You lost the privilege to use it in an enduring way. And so that's how I look at that word. I will not take that from any of y'all. If you ain't black, don't say that shit to me. That's how I feel about it. And that's how a lot of us feel about it. And we reserve the right to use it on anybody we see fit as it pertains to our people. I ain't gonna use it on you if you ain't black. Now, when it comes to the Mexican people and the Spanish people, it's a little different. Because unfortunately, in the spirit of American culture, we have normalized that word to their eardrums. So they call one another that, sometimes in our presence. And it is offensive to some of us. Others have accepted it. It's a strange conundrum, but it's uncomfortable. And it's important that all of y'all know that too. And Spanish people, Mexican people, and people of Spanish and Hispanic descent. It ain't all that comfortable when we hear it. Some people are going to give you a pass and are used to hearing you say it to one another. Others are going to be upset and they hear it. And y'all got to know that. That shit rubs our spirit the wrong way when we hear it out of anybody that ain't black. You need to know that. Some of y'all get passes within your communities, and that might be fine and within your communities. But believe me, there's going to be somebody who ain't going to appreciate that and may try something with you because of it. You don't know who that is. So it's wise you think that when you use that word, even if you're talking to your own people. Because that shit means something different to us. It hurts. You understand what I'm saying? It ruptures the ego and it challenges us to be evil toward whoever's using it. You need to understand that. You are challenging us. And so that's what people need to understand when they use that word, even if they don't mean harm by it. If you ain't black when you use it, particularly if you white when you use it, it's going to be offensive. Some people ain't going to feel that way. Some people are. You don't know who's who. It's probably best just to be ready for that if you're going to use that word. At any rate, if you're not in your right mind, for which that man was not, and you use that word, now it's just incumbent upon me to be offended by your mental illness. I don't have the patience to do that. But while I'm on camera, I'm not going to let people call me that without saying something. But I'm also not going to act a damn fool and throw myself into a situation where I'm tricking myself off the street because of it. So that was the balance I tried to engage in when it took place. I felt like being a lot worse of a human being toward that person. But that's when I start hurting me. I don't want to hurt me. See what I'm saying? So that's the balance. But I felt challenged. And so that's what I wanted to say about that situation. For those who are wondering what happened there, if you can't hear him say it, I haven't listened back to that video or watched that video, so I don't know if you can hear him say it or not. But he certainly said it to me, or said it as I was walking by. And I know he looked at me when it came to his head and to his heart. And so I wanted to let him know that he had offended me and that my intention was to offend him as well. But not by using the same type of energy toward him. I ain't got no interest in offending all the people who happen to be his skin color just because he, a person, chose to use his skin color slurs against me. You understand what I'm saying? The words that he uses when trying to be disrespectful to my people is not the same words I want to retort to him when being disrespectful to me or to him for doing that to me. Why? Because I'm not trying to offend everybody who's right. I'm trying to make sure that he understands that he offended me and it wasn't right. You see what I'm saying? And we got to keep that love in our heart when we retort to people too. You don't want to become them in defending you. I'm not mad at every white person at the moment when he said that to me. I was unhappy with him. So why am I going to throw another slur at him that offends everybody else? I'm trying to represent myself in a way that is respectful as best as possible. Me being just as evil toward him as he is toward me, in my opinion, is something I could take on the chin. Me being evil toward everybody because he was evil toward me, that starts bleeding into some Israel shit. You see what I'm saying? That starts me, October 7th means I kill all of your kids. No, it does not. And so this is where I'm trying to find a balance between representing myself in a way that shows that I'm unhappy, but also representing myself in a way that doesn't allow for me to be unhappy with myself after doing so. Or hurting anybody's feelings that I don't wish to offend. Or making people think that I hate just like he hates from within. I don't. So that's just what it is. But I wanted to address that. I've talked about that word many times on this channel. I've given y'all a bunch of different opinions that I felt in a given moment. I don't think they swayed too much. I try not to use that N-word very much. I reserve the right to do so. But I try not to use it too often. I really don't anymore. When I was younger, around my friends, I would. But now in this era of my life, when I'm not around people too much, there's no reason for me to be using that word. It don't come out of my mouth much at all. I'm not around a bunch of people that look like me, so why would I be pointing at them? You see what I'm saying? On top of that, so it's not a good word. We've done the impossible with it and turned it into something positive, but that don't mean that everybody's gonna be able to use it positively. It's not how that works. It's still offensive. But nevertheless, man, I'm not here to police people's mouths too. I just say be ready for what comes with what you do. There are a lot of people out there who are willing to die on their hill of being able to say whatever they want to say. That's your business. But do understand there are going to be some people who want to challenge you that way. Do understand you can use your life over words. That sticks and stones stuff ain't got nothing to do with how people actually react to words that come their way. And so let's try to be as respectful as we can, even when responding to people who've been disrespectful to us. Because the last thing you want to do is offend people you don't intend to offend when defending yourself. So no, if anybody's wondering, it wasn't in my heart to say anything derogatory about his skin when he said that to me. That wasn't in my heart at all. I wasn't refraining from saying something like that. See, the spirit of a person sometimes can be suppressed by what it is that they want to seem like. And only they know who they are in regards to that. There are a lot of people who run around thinking whatever comes out of their thoughts. Randomly, who knows what a person thinks? I'm certain that there are people out there who may see me and call me the N-word without me ever knowing it, because they don't say it out their mouth. And they can very easily deny it, because obviously, how can I ever confirm that they think these way? Who knows, right? Nobody knows. What I'm confessing to you is it wasn't in my heart to give him any type of derogatory word. It wasn't there. I'm not trying to normalize retorting any kind of way other than I'm unhappy with you. And these are the type of words I'm looking to use. Not your whole race. So anyway, enough of that, man. Racism gets too much credit in a sense that it's not the bane of all the world. It really ain't. It's what drives a lot of the people who are, though. The bane of the world is individuals, I'm starting to find. It's not money. Money's not the root of all people. People are the root of all evil. And their pursuit of money has a lot to do with how the evil is done. It's people. People drive the enemy's intentions. It's through people he operates. People in their cowardice, people in their willingness to exalt themselves over others, selfishness. Those are the things that make the devil live in the world around you. If not for human beings, there ain't a whole lot of demons out here. You might be able to move around and move through animals here and there. I have no doubt that's possible. But the enemy's trying to do his deeds through humans, through our hearts, our manipulation, our intelligence, our stupidity. So don't give him the glory. Keep in mind as you maneuver what reflects poorly upon your last name. A lot of times he wants to use those things, deplorable things, things that you have urges about, things that you would use reactionarily, if that's a word. Reactionary demons is something I've been thinking about. Because we're very good and calm in circumstances or otherwise isn't a quick reaction, but in the quick reactions we could be our worst. A lot of us are very balanced until it's time to crash out. We end up crashing before we realize what we've done. By the time it's over with, you done did all kinds of damage to yourself and others. That's what the enemy loves, to create chaos. It's through you when you're offended and reacting very quickly. It's through you when you're hurt or heartbroken or inebriated and are reacting very quickly. I call them reactionary demons. We got to overcome those. We got to meditate our way through that energy. Suppress that with the Holy Spirit if at all possible. For some, I don't know how that works. For most of us, we just got to work on ourselves and how we want to approach situations, how we approach our everyday life so we can be who we need to be while situations take place, as we often talk about. You know, I turned on this camera thinking I was going to talk about this situation with that stabbing and the young Caucasian kid who was stabbed to death by a black youth named Carmelo Anthony with a K. Unfortunate name choice for the circumstance, but that's just what it is. And they arrested the kid. You know, it's one of those situations where people are obviously getting behind their race in regards to who they support in the situation, and furthermore are offended at others for doing that too on the opposite end. The devil loves them type of situations, ladies and gentlemen, because he knows you're going to get in your feelings about your own side of the story, your own race. Those situations are frustrating because they're hard to deviate away from that a lot of times, especially when the story is not clear, or it's checkered, or it's layered, or what have you. You can just pick a side. That black person, yeah, okay, I'm black, I'm rolling with him. It's a white person, okay, I'm white, I'm rolling with him. So a lot of these type of situations, these stories come out once or twice a year, it seems like, just in time for us to get all riled up about our race, and then furthermore at each other's throats or look at each other crazy. The devil loves these type of situations. Know that, especially in this land where everything's about me and us and our people, not their people, us versus them, even though we all living here on the same slab of land. Us versus them, even though certain things are more clear than that. Seriously more clear than that. But nevertheless, that's how we often operate. And so this story is yet another one of those. Carmelo did the stabbing. The white kid ultimately, and his twin brother, the story is told that they were trying to bully this kid. And this kid pulled out a knife. And I guess it's at a track meet or something, some type of track gathering. Why the young man had a knife at the track gathering, I don't know. I don't know. That's a legitimate question, those who are asking. I don't know. But one thing's for damn certain. This is what ended up happening to that young man. Yeah, that's the prick that called me the N-word right there. There he is. Hope nothing don't happen to him. Anyway, so it's one of those situations where when you talk about the story, there's reason to believe that the white kids came there to beat up some black kids because there's some tweet going around, maybe not a tweet, but a Instagram still going around of this kid apparently having guns and rifles in his seat. I don't know if they were driving or if they would just laid him in the seat. I don't really know exactly what the context is, but in the car seat, guns. And it said in the caption something about, they're one of the monkeys to run up on me tonight. So are we going to acknowledge that is there if we're going to take the white kid's side on this one? Because I definitely saw that post. He had some type of weapons. I'm not a gun expert. I don't know what type of weapon it was, but it was a projectile weapon, some type of gun, some ammo, and he's talking about shooting monkeys. So, like, what was the situation between those two parties? Did they already know one another? These are questions I don't have answered to give you a legitimate opinion, which is why I didn't feel comfortable really talking about it. But whatever the case may be, you get into a fist fight, somebody pulls out a knife, somebody dies, there's going to be some people up in arms. But if you're killing somebody that's looking to attack black people, who made it their business to send out on social media the understanding that they were looking to potentially shoot down some black people, then if a knife gets used on them by a black person later on, there should be some leeway to understand that, this person might have had a legitimate concern about their life. Maybe it was wise he had that knife. Maybe he should have had something bigger than that for what it is they actually were going to bring to the table if it got to as far as they wanted it to go. So I've heard a lot of people getting on the side, taking the side of the white kids without acknowledging that. And I don't know if that's really fair. Just because they lost their life doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't there to take a life. And maybe they just lost the battle somehow. I was always told don't bring a knife to a gunfight, but maybe they should have, maybe that knife should have been there, and maybe they should have went there with different energy, and maybe it would have never been there. I don't know. But what I do know is that young kid is gone. I know that. And the other was arrested for murder. 2 lives gone. And the American government, or rather American people, not the government, but the people, who a lot of them are up in arms about this, at least they appear to on these platforms. God knows how much of this stuff is actually farmed and not real opinions from real human beings. That's a whole nother story. But you look in the social media sites and it seems like a lot of people are up in arms one way or another, and they just siding with whoever because of the color. Or siding against, most importantly, the other side because of the color. Which in my opinion is, it's kind of ridiculous. But it's par for the divide and conquer course that we're on. We've always allowed people because of race to divide us. We've always allowed circumstances because of race to divide us instead of coming together to pay attention to what's actually in between us as we are divided. But just the same, if the country itself was built on racism and supremacy, then that divide is going to be there regardless if it's stirred up or not. Just off the strength of how this thing was built and what keeps it going. Which is why I don't view America in a positive light as I grow older. I don't view this country like a lot of you do at this point. The genocide has changed my point of view on this place. I don't think everybody here is all that great, to be honest. Because if we were, we wouldn't care so much about ourselves and our respective groups as much as we care about what it is that our indifference is causing others outside of this place, outside of our bubble. We're raised to be selfish and self-centered and have pride wrapped up in our identities, and to put that identity before the well-being of others, and furthermore our wealth and our pursuit of wealth above others. And the more I grow to understand how harmful that is elsewhere, the less respect I have for holding it here. Or saying that we got a great country full of great people and all that shit is a lie. That's not true. We behave the way we need to behave to keep up off each other's backsides, but we're really indifferent to the suffering of people overseas. We don't care about what happens to these people. We don't care what happens to people over the border. Just because you treat your community nice or don't go out doing horrible things to the people in your community doesn't mean that you're not the reason why other people are suffering in other places. And because we have some inclination of that and still don't deviate from what makes that the case, I don't look at our behavior, and champion it anymore. I don't look at our ability to come together when we're in trouble and champion it anymore. Because we only care about when we're in trouble. That's the problem with this place. We literally only care about what happens here. We literally only care about what happens in our bubble. The problem is the things that we do as a country affects what happens in other people's bubbles. And we don't care. We're indifferent to it. We turn a blind eye to it. And then we celebrate one another for being good here. That's not good. That's not actual goodness. When we start making it culture to care about what happens to other people in other places because of what it is that we allow, then I can start looking at us saying, yeah, we're good people. We're a good country. We got good people here. Until then, as long as we only care about ourselves and our little communities, our little gang, our little this, pack me over here with these people, I love us type bullshit. If that's just going to be, if that's all this is a bunch of packs of bull, man, ain't that great of people, bro. You're not. Sorry, America. You're going to wake up to find out that that mirror is not telling you you are beautiful. Not at all. The mirror is telling you that you are a pack of wolves constantly going around scaring all the sheep of the earth, killing all the sheep of the earth, kids, with your ambition to be the strongest pack. I'm not impressed by that anymore. Not after this genocide will I ever find myself impressed with that again. And start awakening to all the stuff that we allowed by being this way. Celebrating one another. Celebrating our little snooty classism bullcrap. Nose in the air, I'm better than everybody else because I got more than everybody else bullcrap. I don't respect that anymore. I don't hold that as responsible anymore. That's irresponsible to me at this point. As I said in the previous video, that's caveman thinking. That don't hold a lot of evolution within it. I am no longer impressed by America's selfishness. I'm really not. And its self-righteousness. And its selective humanity. I'm not amused by any of that anymore. This genocide changed me in that regard. Now I look at it for what it is. A colonial project that likely should have been torn down a long time ago for the evil that it upholds in other places where people have to suffer so that we can continue to uphold ourselves. It's a cancer. It's a polite and quiet, quiet ain't the word, but polite, coof cancer. Kindly killing the world $1 at a time. That's exactly how I view this country. Now, I'm not sorry for that. Why should I, in my enlightened understanding of what it is that ultimately this boils down to, all of what it is that we've been doing here, what it boils down to, why should I, with all of my understanding in that regard, feel unhappy about holding it accountable when that's what it's lacking? That's what it's lacking. It's somebody from within it saying, yo, this is trash. Y'all a bunch of self-righteous, snooty snobs that are indifferent to the suffering of children and deserve whatever bad comes your way because of it, despite no one holding you accountable for it. Why is that so bad for me to say? Why am I just the worst guy? I'm anti-American. What is American? It's the United States of Israel at this point. Because this is what it boiled down to. That's what our ambition and our sicknesses and all of our different demons have ultimately coerced this thing into being in this day. All the stuff that y'all been doing all this time, it just come down to you selling the country to the Israelis. And then wanting to kill off Palestinian children. I mean, that's what this country is literally. All of its ambition, every dollar it's ever gathered for itself. It's come down to that. This is exactly what it comes down to. This is what it boiled down to. I'm like, man, I'm not interested in that. See, the problem with this is its indifference toward humanity itself. Its intention is to build itself on the backs of whomever, however it goes. And the mission is to not be better, but to be wealthy and more powerful. Not to be more disciplined and more wise, but to be more dominant. And there's a lot of wisdom that is foregoed in its ambition and what its goals are. See? So when I listen to a lot of people, they're always telling us about how America is such a wonderful place because it's been able to dominate. Get more, have more, be more, stronger. We got it all. Now we can do whatever we want. But there's a lot of wisdom lacking. It's a lot of responsibility that has been foregoed. It's a lot of decency and self-respect that's been foregoed. And because it hasn't had the consequences of how bad that is when you forego those things come its way, it still truly believes that this is something to continue on the path of behaving as if this matters the most. No, you just ain't learned the lessons of why you should value a good reputation. value humanity, value a legitimate legacy where you don't have to hide the truth to show that how you obtained your power. You know what I see here? Truthfully, an empire that's not long for this earth because of its irresponsibility in valuing things and people and spirituality and reputation and history properly. We've yet to understand this because in all of our exhaustion, all of our domination, and all of what we've accomplished, that this has only been done in a short amount of time. This empire of ours, it's only a couple hundred years old. Other nations are thousands and thousands of years old. Other countries have been around for thousands and thousands of years. We will not last that long because of the indifference and the foregoing of wisdom and dignity and honor and respect and truth. We've forgone a lot of the things that keep empires going. A lot of the things that keep countries in business and upright for thousands of years are the things that we're foregoing. We're doing the things that empires that fall, whether quickly, did. Were godless in nature, didn't care about human beings, engaged in horrible practices and tried to hide those practices behind fake, policies of goodness and respect. We're doing the things that the empires who fell did. Hiding history. Valuing some over others. Mistreating the poor. It's the empires that failed that did these things. Not the ones that stood the test of time. But because we're doing things irresponsibly and calling it great, we're destined for the same fate. And nobody wants to admit it because they're in it and they have so much power and they see so much presence of what it is they've gotten, but it's ill-gotten gain. You are betraying the laws of the universe, so to speak. You're ignoring the lessons that have already been learned. How to treat your neighbor. How to handle your children respectfully, respecting your elders. We're forgoing a lot of that so that we can dominate in the short term. Empires that stand the test of time don't do that. The ones that have lasted for 5 and 6 and 7, 8,000 years, they don't do those things. It's the ones that fell along the way that taught us the lessons of what happens when we do the things that we're doing. You're letting children die so that you can uphold your financial structure as a country. And you think you're going to last 7,000 years? The pain that you have allowed to seep into the hearts of those you've allowed to die is going to last longer than your empire is. Your poor reputation is going to last longer than your empire is. And you are none the wiser. Fat and happy and as destined to fall as ever before. America, I'm telling you, as an American, we can't last like this. We can't last letting people like Israel buy our government system and furthermore enact terror upon entire races of people. We cannot survive as an empire if this is going to be our reputation on this planet. It's not going to work. Y'all valuing things that are not of substance and expecting to stand the test of time. That doesn't work. Y'all value money, y'all value short-term power. You value your race over other people. And you value your most precious comfort over the ceasing of the suffering of children. And you think that you're going to stand the test of time, or that your reputation is going to be that of which is not of crime and of debauchery. That's not realistic. Especially with the presence of technology showing everybody what you've done for all time going forward. You will always be the one that people look at when they look back in the past and see the learned lesson of not going forward in the way that we did and the way that many others did who have fallen since. We didn't have technology to show us why other empires fell, but they're going to have all of the data in real time to access in the cloud of what ultimately brought us down. And we exalted ourselves. Furthermore, a mistake. Exalting ourselves like we doing it all right when we're doing it all wrong. Allowing people who live in the cloud as it pertains to the nonsense that they believe in control our government and have them doing all types of wild, wicked, and demonic things to other people in our name with our tax dollars. We're going to go down in infamous shame because of what we've allowed. And somebody in the cloud, they're going to look back on who said it exactly that way. And that person is me. I told all of us, whatever we think we building, you ain't going to build it on the backs of children. I'll tell you that. Not without falling. Not without falling. Whatever wealth you think you gaining, it ain't going to have the same value if you brought shame upon your people and curses upon the land that you stood on. This is what we've done. It's what we allowed this thing to be built on, is curses and wickedness, and you expect it for it to stand for all time. That's not real. So that's what I'm here to tell y'all, man. I don't know. You ain't gonna get to wave that flag in my face and have me thinking about wonderful things when I know the history, when I've seen what ultimately is taking place right now, for which will be history. I see children under rubble. That's what I see. I see people celebrating awful things happening to people who are innocent. That's what I see. When you wave your little flag and you tell me about your side. That's what I see. Supremacy. Colonialism. Pirating, basically. Low-frequency pirates who stole, maimed, and self-exalted themselves all the way to absolute and utter shame. That's where this is headed. That's exactly where this is headed. Absolute and utter shame. People ain't gonna think about all the good things we did and how we came together and we helped each other and all this stupid shit. No, they're not gonna think about that. They're gonna think about the kids of Palestine and the people of this land before it got to be what it is right now. The natives and the slaves and the horrible practices enacted upon those slaves for 400, 500 years. That's what people are going to remember. Not whatever your little company is, or whatever it is you think you're building in your little wealth and your little time. Tumbling forward all types of pain for the descendants behind you. It's not what you think it is. That's the problem with y'all. You can't see the forest for the trees. But in all your arrogance, you're moving forward like you control the world around you. You ain't learning no lessons from the empires that came before you that failed. Just moving forward and getting whatever you want, even if it leads everybody else to hell. That's the problem with America, man. That's exactly what I see here. I don't see what y'all see, man. I see pain, suffering. I see a bunch of isms that leave people feeling like they're less than. I see mine, me, all over the place. Selfishness without being checked. That's what I see. I see a bunch of people who call themselves intelligent, who are indifferent to the suffering of others and thus indifferent to their own downfall as a country. That's what I see. People call themselves believers in God but are afraid to stand up against his enemies. That's what I see. People have their own selfishness on the forefront of their ambition and wouldn't dare use that ambition to help anybody outside of the circumference of what it is they can see, unless they can get some type of kickback from it. That's what I see. I'm tired of it, honestly. Video 44, I thank y'all for watching.